Good morning. Today is Wednesday, April 17th, 2024. Over the holiday of Passover, we focus on the distinction between a tzaddik, a righteous person, and a Rasha, a wicked person, an evil person. Moshe was a tzaddik, Paro was a Rasha. The Jewish people were tzaddikim, the Mitzrim were Rishayim. In the Haggadah, we have a section, Keneged Arba Banim Dibra Torah. The Torah refers to 4 different types of children. Of course, at the Seder, we are not, God forbid, calling any child a Rasha. We would not do such a thing. But what we mean to say at that part of the Seder is that we are identifying different characteristics that every child has in different proportions. And the point of that section is that the Haggadah is teaching us that we need to tell the story of Pesach to each child in a way that they will hear it. The story, of course, is the same, but the way we tell it must be different for each child, directed and intended for that child to be able to appreciate it. But let's ask fundamentally, what is the difference between a tzaddik, a righteous person, and a Rasha, a wicked person? Rabbi Avigdor Nebenzahl, who is a great scholar that lives in the old city of Jerusalem, explains something very important. He said the difference between a tzaddik and a Rasha is not that one regrets their bad deeds and the other does not regret their evil deeds. The truth is, both a tzaddik and a Rasha both regret their bad deeds after they have done them. We see this clearly in the Torah concerning Paro. Paro does evil over and over when he refuses to let the Jewish people leave, and then each time he does that, he expresses regret, and he feels bad for it, and he decides the next time he's going to let them go. And then, of course, shortly after that, he regrets his regret. But regret is not the difference between a tzaddik and a Rasha. Rabbi Nebenzahl explains, and this is a fundamental point, and it applies to the lives of every single one of us. It's not just about Paro that I'm speaking, it's about every single one of us. And Rabbi Nebenzahl writes as follows: Paro also had good thoughts of improving himself, just like the rest of us do. Paro had moments where he wanted to do the right thing. The main difference between a tzaddik and a Rasha, between what Paro did and let's say what Moshe did, the main difference is the actual implementation of those good thoughts in daily life. Paro had a moment where he thought to himself, okay, Hashem's in charge, I'm going to let the Jewish people go. That's the thought of a tzaddik. But he didn't act on it. He let time go by until such time as he decided it wasn't so important. He decided that what he had thought was a good idea, he didn't follow up on it. Yes, of course, he regretted it, but he didn't implement it when it first occurred to him to do the right thing. The difference between a tzaddik and a Rasha, says Rabbi Nebenzahl, is the distance between one feeling and the next feeling, between the awakening of the idea of doing something right and then the idea of putting it into practice. With a Rasha, a big space exists between them. Every thought of doing something good immediately flies by and is lost. And the Rasha walks in the ways of his or her wayward heart. The tzaddik, on the other hand, wants to create constancy and to prolong the days of his heart's awakenings. He stretches that influence for as long as possible. He wants to seize these flashes of wanting to do the right thing and adopt them immediately into his heart and into his actions, into his hands and legs, to preserve the moments of good for as long as he possibly can. And this distinction is very important for us, and it helps to explain the unfolding of this holiday. This is the reason that on the first day of the liberty of the Jewish people, the first day that they were free is the first day of counting the Omer. We count the days to Sinai. That is, the Jewish people left Egypt. They could have rested. They could have taken it easy. They could have enjoyed their freedom and liberty. And yet, they immediately set out for Sinai to receive the Torah. There was no delay. That's why the second day of Pesach is the first day of counting the Omer that leads us to Shavuos, that connects us to Shavuos. They went immediately without delay from freedom to do whatever they wanted to act on the purpose of Exodus, which is to receive the Torah and then to travel to Israel. That is how matzah becomes this double symbol, and we've discussed this before. Matzah is a symbol of slavery, and it is also a symbol of freedom, and we say both of these at the Seder. At the beginning of the Seder, we hold up a piece of matzah and we say, Halach ma'anya di'achla v'asanu ba'ar de Mitzrayim. This is the bread of poor people that our forefathers and foremothers ate while they were slaves in Egypt. This is a reminder of the slavery. And then later in the evening, the Haggadah tells us, Matzah zu shanu ochlin al shumah. Why do we eat matzah? To remind ourselves that the Jewish people left in haste in order to be able to rush towards Sinai. The food that they had eaten as slaves, they didn't stop to bake bread. They didn't stop to have finally something that was delicious. They had this idea that they were leaving Egypt in order to receive the Torah, and so they maintained the same food that they had eaten as slaves, but now it becomes a symbol of freedom. Freedom, what kind of freedom? Not freedom from, because it's the same food they had eaten before. Freedom to use the liberty that we have to rush to Sinai, to receive the Torah. No distance, no space between the idea of going to Sinai, the opportunity of going to Sinai, and starting to walk there. This is relevant in every area of life. Every day, to have the strength and the discipline to act immediately on our good intentions. Don't wait, because if we wait, they lapse. Our enthusiasm wanes. The mark of a tzaddik is a person who, when they have a good intention, they act on it immediately. That's the difference between a tzaddik and a Rasha. Today is a milestone for me. Today, on the secular calendar, April 17th, completes 4 years of learning 10 at 9 with you. We started on April 18th, 2000. Tomorrow, April 18th, we begin our 5th year. This has been a radical and very, very positive transformation in my life. It has led me to be able to study Torah and teach Torah in an amount that I never would have been able to, and never have, to be perfectly honest, never have in my life, to be able to spend a major part of my day preparing to learn Torah, to teach Torah. And it would not happen without you. And I am grateful to every one of you who comes on live. I'm grateful to every one of you who listens to the video, to the podcasts, all of the feedback that you were so kind in giving me. It's because of you that I keep going. And with God's help, we'll continue for many, many years to come. But at this moment, I'm just filled with gratitude to Hashem for giving me the power, the strength to be able to do this, and to all of you for making it worthwhile. I wish you all a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you soon in person.